Hello, it's Magnus from the Kindness Consultancy here. I am incredibly lucky because I have the opportunity to talk to very smart people every week. I'm interviewing them for my books, I'm interviewing them for my podcasts, I'm interviewing them through work that I do. And I talk to them about kindness, specifically kindness at work. And there are all sorts of different aspects. You know, I learn so much from what these people have to say. So in 2020, I was lucky enough to be the host and curator of Kindfest2020, and I ran the Kindness at Work tent. I asked the speakers at my tent to give me a definition of kindness at work and talk to me about kindness at work. And so what I thought I'd do is I put together this little compilation where you can see multiple perspectives from some very smart people about what is kindness at work. I hope you enjoy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
First of all, thank you for having me, Magnus. It's wonderful to be on the show. What an honor. Kindness means, I think, many things to many different people, but for me, I think it's just simple acts of kindness and generosity, being considerate to people without really expecting anything in return. I think that's what kindness means to me, very much so.
I think to me, kindness has a number of elements from demonstrating compassion, integrity, so living true to your values and beliefs, that gratitude, being authentic to who you are, and within that authenticity sort of demonstrating a vulnerability as well, because you have to be sort of open to other people's vulnerabilities to be able to actually have that kindness, but also open to your own vulnerabilities and demonstrating that sort of like humility within that. I think another important aspect of kindness really is around having humor. To recognize, you know, that within that sort of like self-reflection and self-empathy, you have to have that humor to actually come across in that compassionate way.
The question, isn't it? And I'm hoping you get such a lot of variations in the response, but I've kind of crafted something about understanding the essence of what matters to someone and leaving them feeling noticed, appreciated, and comfortable. So yeah, what matters to someone? It's this essence of, if you know that somebody would value thanks or a challenge or whatever, kindness doesn't have to mean gentle all the time. It's just what matters to them and that they feel noticed, appreciated, and comforted.
This is empathy, and it's really about appreciating the diverse thinking that ultimately powers success. It's about being solution focused and always acting in the best balanced interest of an individual, a team, and a business. And the interesting thing about kindness is that it can be nice and lovely to be around, but it's about being honest, and it's having the courage to deliver difficult messages in a constructive way to ultimately help people be more successful in the future.
Kindness as a state of mind on how we should all treat each other. So by that I mean, to be kind costs nothing, especially in our current situation of lockdown and COVID. But the impact that has on people is you know, you can't put any money towards it. So I think kindness to me is just showing people respect, treating people the way that you want to be treated. And it's one of those things that will come back to you in ways that, you know, you wouldn't even necessarily have thought about when you're actually doing it. So when I say a state of mind, if you're always thinking to be kind to your local shopkeeper, be kind to your neighbor, be kind to your work colleague, it does come back to you. And having that state of mind, I think that's what kindness to me means. And I think that's how I've probably benefited from striving to be kind in everything that I do. Yeah.
It's really interesting actually, because I've been writing a series for Peace Beam about, you know, how to be kind. And when I sat down to write it, I realized that kindness, the word itself, is so small to kind of fit in that, you know, really how vast its meaning is. And I think it's so multi-layered. But I think if I was going to really narrow it down, I would say that kindness, I think, is our ability to see the other as the other and to treat that other with reverence. I think that that kind of sums up all of the different complexions and understandings and occasions that we have for kindness. So I think it's the ability to see the other as the other, to treat them with reverence, and to intend all good things for the other. I think that that's its essence.
It's a complicated question, actually. It seems like a very easy response, but when you really think about what are the causes and conditions that are needed for kindness, it's a certain place you're coming from within yourself where you're suspending in some ways your own filter of your own needs, as it were, and being able to connect in with what another person or being needs at that exact moment in time from you. And if I had to sort of describe what does kindness feel like, it's a kind of openness and a softness and a gentleness that is immediately recognizable by the other person.
Yeah, I think this is a really good question, and it did cause me to think a little bit. I saw some great quotes. No matter how small an act of kindness is, it's valued, and those type of things. But for me, I think kindness is something that everyone can afford to give, and the only thing that it costs is time and energy and the will to do it. So I think kindness is just being someone who refreshes someone, and and you're not expecting anything back at all, I think.
Kindness is a special form of compassion. Cultural anthropologists have identified and published a list of human universals. They are behaviors and practices and beliefs that are held by all human societies around the world. And it turns out that there are several sort of moral universal principles, and compassion is one of them. The human infant's born needing to connect with its caregiver, with its mother, and also human infants, even toddler research has shown that toddlers spontaneously show kindness and generosity and consideration for others with no expectation of return. So when it comes to the workplace, compassion is the big identifier, and kindness is one part of that.
Kindness, simply put, is always thinking about lifting up others and spending less time thinking about lifting up yourself. Too often we focus our time on lifting ourselves up and think about that as the definition of success, our own career journey, getting our own good reviews and working on our development goals. And that's important, but my philosophy is that focusing on lifting other people up, empowering them truly, and bringing more diverse voices to the table is truly what success should be. It's about leading with purpose and putting your people first. And this comes to life by putting our values into action during moments that are both large and small, because even a small gesture can mean a lot to someone else. Built into kindness and leading with purpose is responding with empathy and humanity, putting the human needs of others first, and acting from a place of authenticity and emotion. It is through this that we can truly forge emotional connections with people.
Yeah, I get asked that a lot, actually, and I always reply that my own personal definition of kindness is some behavior, act, or attitude that costs you, the individual doing it. If kindness is effortless, I don't think it's kind, really.
Yeah.
People do it, so it has to cost you something. But if you look at the textbooks, the theological and philosophical definition, they'll split it into two. One saying you can have a kind attitude or have kind values, and the other saying, oh, you can have kind action or kind behavior. The research that we've done indicates that in the world of work, it's that mixture of both, that behavior reflects your values and your values reflect the behavior. So I'd probably define it as something that costs you and is a kind act,